We've just had a rousing rendition of Advance Australia Fair. The two national anthems have been played here in the platinum capital of South Africa on a gloriously sunny day after the gloom of the night before in Cape Town. And this was the venue for the first of England's lumbering performances at the World Cup. And if, and I emphasise the word if, England do reach the last 16, then one of these two could be the next hurdle to negotiate for Fabio Capello's team. And on paper, Ghana looked the most likely opponents, having beaten Serbia. Australia, meanwhile, were abject in their mauling by Germany. Well, Australia have made 4 changes from the team that lost 4-0 in that game. One of the main notable inclusions today is Harry Kewell. He's only played an hour of football in 2010. The other players who are coming in, the likes of Mark Bresciano, Brett Holman and also David Carney. So Mark Schwarzer, the Fulham goalkeeper's in goal for them. Across the back, Dynamo Moscow's Luke Wilshere, a former Middlesbrough player. Lucas Neal, the captain, who now plays his football for Galatasaray. Craig Moore, unattached in terms of domestically at the moment. David Carney of 20 Enschede, former Norwich and Sheffield United defender. The midfield, Brett Emerton of Blackburn. Carl Valeri, who plays his football in Italy. Jason Kalina, who plays back home in Australia, and Mark Bresciano, who plays for Palermo in Italy. Up front for Australia, Brett Holman of AZ Alkmaar and Harry Kewell. As for Ghana, who recorded that 1-0 win over Serbia in their first game, their captain today, in the absence of John Mensah, who's injured, is the Wigan goalkeeper Richard Kingston. Across the back for them, John Pansel of Fulham, Jonathan Mensah, the younger of the two Mensahs. Lee Addy, voted best defender in the Ghanaian Premier League last year, and Hans Sarpe at left back, who plays for Bayer Leverkusen. The midfield of Prince Targo, Anthony Annan, who'll be taking Michael Essien's role, Kevin Prince Boateng, a familiar face for Portsmouth fans, Andre Ayew of Marseille, and the left-hand side of midfield as Australia kick off in this first half in Rustenburg. And up front, it's Kwadwo Asamoah and Asamoah Gyan, who scored the penalty against Serbia. Australia in their green and gold, attacking the goal away to our left, and already Brett Emerton chasing a ball down, which goes out for a goal kick to Ghana. The Black Stars in their traditional all-white, Danny Mills.
I would expect Australia to start this game quite fiercely, quite high tempo. They've got a point to prove. Pride was dented and damaged in the last game. And I think they'll start reasonably strong. It's just a case of whether they can maintain it, and after sort of 10-15 minutes when the game settles down, whether Ghanaians will take control and their passing, etc.
Ball is now inside the Australia half with Ghana, attacking the goal away to our right. Mark Schwarzer in the shade of the roof of the stadium above us, the stand above us. Richard Kingston in the bright sunlight. In fact, this side of the ground is the only part which is covered by a roof. But no one's going to complain today on a very bright day in Rustenburg. Ghana under pressure in the left-back position. Harry Kewell causing problems, goes down under a challenge inside the area. Referee Roberto Rossetti of Italy just waves away Kewell's protestations, and Australia build again, but that's a poor ball in by Carney, and it's going to be a goal kick to Ghana.
Well, Harry Kewell's not happy. For me, it's a 50-50. They've both gone for the ball, shoulder to shoulder. And they've seen it again now. Yeah, it's a normal challenge. You're not going to get a penalty for that. But Harry Kewell looks like he's got a bit of fire in his belly. Again, someone else with a point to prove and his future to play for.
I mentioned Roberto Rossetti, the Italian referee, who is in his second World Cup finals. He refereed the Euro 2008 final, you might remember, between Germany and Spain. Here come Ghana down their right, but the cross is blocked at close range by Australia. And the ball is now just outside their own penalty area with Brett Holman in a deep position. Kewell then tries to head it out to the far side, the Australia right in the sunshine, and it's helped on by Emerton. Moving forward down the right-hand side, Australia. Intercepted initially as Wiltshire tries to make some progress, and it's now back in the central position with Craig Moore. Out to this near side, the Australia left. 2.5 minutes played in Rustenburg at the Royal Bafokeng Stadium. Ghana 0, Australia 0 in Group D. Ball down the line for Emerton to chase. He's got to try and keep up with Sarpe there. He's very quick, the left back of Ghana, and eventually it's cleared upfield by Addy and out of touch for a throw into Australia. And they've certainly pressed early on, Australia, haven't they, Danny? Yeah,
they're looking to get in behind. Unfortunately, Emerton, very strong runner, but hasn't got the pace that Sarpe has. I think Australia are going to have to be a little bit more cute. Harry Kewell, not 100% fit, isn't going to sort of make runs into the channel. He's just going to be the focal point up front. So they're going to have to rely on a little bit of guile around the box and try and get the ball into Harry's feet and see if he can work some magic. But at the moment, Harry is up front on his own, and Holman is dropping very, very deep, almost into the midfield.
An electric blue-coloured helicopter glides across the skyline and lands in a field away to our left. It's a glorious commentary position for us, I have to say, on a day like today. You can see the hills, the dusty-looking hills. And I'm guessing, Danny Mills, a platinum mine away to our left, several miles away.
I thought you were going to say Robbie Savage has turned up in his helicopter, but I thought he was staying back at the hotel today.
Ghana with possession, a throw-in down the right side, headed away by Australia and then lofted into the air by Mark Bresciano. And it hangs just short of the halfway line where Kewell is fouled as he attempts to head the ball. Kevin Prince Boateng, the offender. And it's a free kick to Australia. Referee Rossetti's actually gone across to the far side of the field to have a quiet conversation with Andre Ayew about something. I don't know whether he said something off the ball. The conversation has taken place and Australia have a free kick. 4.5 minutes have been played, no goals as yet.
Yeah, a little bit scrappy so far. Obviously Australia trying to get amongst the Ghanaians, not let them sit on the ball, which they're doing okay. Australia having the majority of it. Ghanaians haven't really had a chance to get hold of it and put any passing moves together as yet.
Australia with possession. Their captain Lucas Neal just inside his own half, plays it down their right to Luke Wilshere. Running into the channel on the right side is Holman, but he fouls a Ghanaian player, and it's going to be a free kick to Ghana. That looked like rather tame. Well, the free kick's been given for the foul on Boateng.
I think that's one of the things you have noticed, especially during this World Cup. It doesn't take an awful lot to get a free kick. Players are getting very, very cute, are very, very clever. Any sort of contact, any foot raised, players getting free kicks, bookings, and even sending offs. That's the way the game's gone, and players have to learn and adapt very, very quickly.
In the age of being environmentally friendly, Danny Mills, why are the floodlights on at 4:05 on a bright sunny day?
I'll plead the fifth on that one. I've no idea.
Maybe they're just warming them up. Ball is with Australia. Left midfield with Bresciano, goes infield. That's poor play by Kalina. Robbed of the ball by Boateng, and a rather speculative effort from 35 yards out by the Portsmouth player, and it goes well wide of Mark Schwartz's goal.
Yeah, we've seen some goalkeeping errors in the competition so far, but I don't think you're going to beat Mark Schwarzer from full on 45 yards.
Lucas Neal plays across to Craig Moore. They had a torrid time against Germany in their opening match, which the Germans comfortably won 4-0, which means today Australia must acquire at least a point from this game to stay in the tournament. If they were to lose today, they would be out of the 2010 World Cup. Whereas if Ghana were to win, they are all but in the last 16. It would probably come down to goal difference or maybe goals scored if the results went a certain way. But we'll worry about that nearer the time. As it stands, though, 6.5 minutes gone on 5 Live Sport from the BBC. It's Ghana 0, Australia 0, and Australia have a free kick wide on the left, which Bresciano will take. Looking towards the penalty area, he sends it in high towards the back post, but it's got a bit too much whip on it, and it eludes everybody and goes out for a goal kick to Ghana. Let's head off to Royal Ascot then, the final day of Royal Ascot for the Hardwick Stakes. John Hunt.
Thank you, Michael. We'll be straight back with you in Rustenburg very shortly, but here race is reaching its conclusion. The Hardwick Stakes are up the side of the course, and all eyes on Harbinger, who is the hottest favourite of the week here at Royal Ascot. At 8 to 11 or thereabouts, he's been sent off, and he's travelling like a dream in 5th or 6th place. Jukebox Jury not travelling well. They've got less now than half a mile to go. Bar Sheba is the leader here, from in 2nd place. place. Crowded house. Southeaster next. Harbinger beginning his move now on the outside of Patara Bay, and Claremont, who's weakening away on the inside. Wajir is trying to get into it under Frankie Dettori. Duncan finding traffic problems a bit further back with Jukebox Jury. Redwood round the outside with Sans Frontier as they now head for home. It is Barshiba out in front, but listen to the roars go up for Harbinger, who now strikes the front and quickly goes on. Harbinger quickens in the style of a smart horse. In second place now is Duncan, finishing off well. He's in for turn, followed by Barshiba. Crowded house is next. Redwood is after those, but they're playing per places only. Harbinger, he's the shortest price favourite of the week. He's coming home in the style of a good one. Harbinger's 4 or 5 clear. Duncan's in second, but Harbinger, a fantastic performance, and he wins so impressively. Duncan ran great in second place. He was clearly second best, ahead of Barshiba, Sans Frontier, and in 5th place Redwood. So Mike, Harbinger, the good thing obliges here at Royal Ascot. Back to you at Rustenburg.
Well, the score remains Ghana 0, Australia 0, but Ghana have a corner. Right wing corner, which will be swung in left-footed, low to the near post, headed away by Brett Edmonton to this near side and out for a Ghana throw. Just a moment ago, Danny Mills, while we were at Royal Ascot, there was an opportunity for Harry Kewell where there was a bit of a misunderstanding between Kingston and his centre-back Addy.
Yeah, it was a hopeful ball over the top. Harry Kewell, decent pace, trying to get on the end of it, and the keeper came out. Complete lack of concentration from the centre half and the keeper, no communication whatsoever. Have to remember the keeper hasn't played an awful lot of football in the last few years, so again, unfortunately it bobbled back and bounced straight into the keeper's arms. But that's what Harry Kewell's going to do. You can tell already he's going to work between the boxes. He's not going to come into the channels and out wide. He's just going to stay in that central area.
Well, Richard Kingston didn't make an appearance for Wigan last season. In fact, his international career didn't get off to the best of starts when he made his debut against Brazil in 1996. I think you'd be a bit unhappy if you conceded 8 goals on your debut, wouldn't you?
I think you'd be happy whether it was debut or not. Any game I'd be very, very unhappy with that.
Still goalless here, moving towards 10 minutes of the first half being played. The shadow across the pitch is just moving across to the far side of the field as Australia have it on the halfway line. One in midfield by Valeri, moves forward 30 yards out, goes down under a challenge. Referee is right there to award a free kick to Australia, dead central, 30 yards from goal.
Yeah, again, I think the Australians have done well. You know, they've high tempo, they're pressing. The Ghanaians haven't really had a chance to settle on the ball. Australia, they're almost playing like an English team, if you like. They're slightly more direct, trying to get the ball up front quite quickly, and they're benefiting from that. And again, it's a free kick. It's a long way out. You know, I think we're talking 35 yards maybe. We're yet to see any fantastic free kicks really in the World Cup. Hopefully this may well be the first. 35
yards from goal. 2 players teeing this up. David Carney, the left footer, and Mark Bresciano, the right footer. It looks like Bresciano is preparing because he's just pacing on the spot. Left to right foot, here he comes, right footer, drives the ball in, strikes it well, bounces in front of Kingston, the rebound is tucked into the net by Brett Holman, and Australia have taken an early lead against Ghana. They celebrate in front of their fans. It's Ghana 0, Australia 1.
Well, I think Australia deserve that. They've played well in the first 10 minutes of this game or so, and that's a great start for them. But yet again, how many times already during this World Cup, that's an awful error by the keeper. The free kick over top of the wall, no fantastic pace on it. It just bounced up, hit him in the chest, bounced up. And to be fair, great reaction from Harmon. Just seen it again. That's horrendous mistake by the keeper. You know, that's the sort of thing. He's got to throw his hat on it. I don't understand. That's not to do with the ball. That's to do with bad goalkeeping and concentration. But fair play to Holman. He was the first to follow up, first to react, and tucks it away. And now we should have a game on our hands.
Maybe that's what you get from a goalkeeper who's not played a domestic game in the preceding season. That was particularly poor. That ball into the box by Ghana is cleared for a corner. I think if you were Robert Green, you might actually think, well, I don't think my mistake was as bad as that one.
Well, it probably wasn't. But in all honesty, you know, why are so many goalkeepers making awful mistakes? The ball doesn't look to be deviating too much. It was no particularly bad bounce.
Corner for Ghana, swung into the back post. One-fisted punch by Schwarzer, who's battered to the ground by a Ghanaian It's going to be a free kick to Australia, and that is the perfect start for them, isn't it, Danny, after such a disappointing display against Germany?
As you said earlier, they were abject against the Germans. They've come out today and they look like they've got a point to prove. They started well. Like we said, they don't have real world-class quality throughout their side. They're very workmanlike, but they're playing to their strengths at the moment. They're getting amongst the Ghanaians, not letting them settle. I don't think the Ghanaians have put more than 2 or 3 passes together, and because of that, they've got a great start.
Well, Pim Verbeek, the Australia coach, was almost delirious there when his team took the lead. Been a difficult few days for him, trying to prepare his players for this pivotal match in the tournament. He was the assistant to Gus Hiddink with South Korea back in 2002 when they got to the semi-finals of the World Cup. But he's out on his own today, leading Australia, who are leading themselves through Brett Holman's 11th minute goal. Live in Rustenburg, this is 5 Live Sport from the BBC. Earlier today, just to point out, Australia were beaten by England 21 points to 20 in the second test in Sydney to level the series. And in the football here in South Africa, the Netherlands beat Japan by a 1-0. Wesley Sneijder was their goal scorer. Tonight, of course, full commentary, Cameroon versus Denmark in Pretoria. The former Denmark international Jan Molby is part of our commentary team. 14 minutes played, Australia taking the initiative and leading this game, but Ghana had possession in the centre circle, played forward towards the edge of the penalty area, but cut out easily by Carney, and then away by Valeri, who won the free kick which led to the goal, and this is the man who took it, Bresciano, into Carney, and via Valeri it's back into midfield to find Kalina, and then Carney again goes back into the left back position where Craig Moore has come across, and he brings Mark Schwarzer into play, and he clears down centre field up towards Harry Kewell, who is fouled from behind by Jonathan Mensah. No, he isn't. I thought the referee had given a free kick there. I think he's given it the other way. Yeah,
I think he just gave handball. Harry Kewell put his arms up above his head, did take a little push in the back, and again, one of those, sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't.
Moore clears from the edge of his own penalty area. We've had a quarter of an hour here. Australia in front. Here's Kewell. Brings the ball down just inside the Ghana half and wins a throw-in right in front of the dugouts, in front of the Ghana coach Milovan Rajovac, the Serbian, the former defender himself. One of his most important moments of his playing career came in the 1979 UEFA Cup final for Red Star Belgrade. Now 56 years of age, watches on, his team trailing, and the ball with Mark Schwarzer. I talked about electric blue helicopters. He has an electric blue uniform today, does the tall Australian keeper, a man you played with, I think, Danny.
Yes, did. Had a season with Mark up at Middlesbrough. Fantastic goalkeeper. Now into his late 30s, but looks after himself very, very well. Trains incredibly hard. Is a perfectionist when it comes to his technique, and he will have been very, very hurt by losing 4 goals in the last World Cup match.
Only missed 1 Premier League match last season, did Mark Schwarzer for Fulham. Ghana have conceded another free kick. The foul on Bresciano by John Pansel, Mark Schwartz's teammate, of course, at Fulham.
The only thing that worries me very, very slightly since the goal, Australia have tended to sit back. The tempo has dropped very, very slightly. They're now trying to play a bit more of a patient game and keep the ball a little bit better, and I don't think they can compete with the Ghanaians on that level.
Referee's ordered a free kick in the centre circle. He wants the ball brought back. If we look to the stand on the far side, which is bathed in sunshine, there's a large contingent of Australia fans. Socceroos, it says there, Australian pride. Plenty of banners over on the far side of the field. There's a contingent actually in the corner away to our right on this side as well. Ghana attack into the penalty area. The ball lofted into the box, headed away, back in from this near side of the field, but a flag has been raised and there's an offside position on the near side and a free kick to Australia. 17 minutes played, Ghana 0, Australia 1.
Again, just looking around the stadium, he mentioned that there. It's disappointing for me to see so many empty seats. This is the World Cup finals.
But this has happened at a lot of...
Of course.
This is my 5th game, and I've seen a lot of empty seats at every single one.
Surely FIFA or somebody should have addressed this situation. You want full stadia, with great atmospheres. This is the greatest football spectacle that only happens every 4 years. You want as many people as possible to see it, and I just think it's a little bit disappointing that there's obviously a lot of people that would love to come that obviously can't get tickets, or the tickets are too expensive.
Well, there's one block over on the far side which is barely half full, so a good 100 seats or so left vacant. Schwarzer clears from inside his penalty area, but Ghana play it straight back to him, and he now has it in his arms, and another helicopter just crosses the skyline in front of us. That one, I think, reads police. I don't think Robbie Savage is in that one.
Let's hope not.
Yet. Cleared by Schwarzer, down centre field. Flicked into the air by Lee Addy, and over on the far side of the field, Hans Sarpi, the Ghanaian left back, has the ball. He plays his football in Germany for Bayer Leverkusen, actually holds a German passport. And Germany, of course, will be the last team that Ghana face in the group stage of this World Cup. As it stands, Danny Mills, if you take the score as it is now, all 4 teams have 3 points.
Yeah, which makes it very, very interesting going into the last group game. This is my first game at the World Cup, and I'm excited now because the World Cup's starting to get going. The last round of sort of second round games, if you like, in the group, and then coming to your final group match where it all starts to unfold, and teams now have got to start going out for wins. It's no longer a case of let's not get beat. You've got to see more attacking football, and hopefully we'll start to see this World Cup really spring to life.
One thing we have to point out as well, Danny, is you've been fortunate so far because you've picked a day when we've got a warm day at a match, because normally in the evenings it's absolutely fresh.
Well, I've been heard all you commentators moan about how cold it gets at night. We're sat here in t-shirts and a jumper, and it's fantastic, glorious weather.
You wait and see. Ghana have possession inside the Australia half, almost 20 minutes played. They trail by 1-0. Brett Holman's strike after 11 minutes is he who clears now for Australia down the left wing. And then Valeri hits it straight up into the air above the head of the referee, Roberto Rossetti. And it's out to the far side of the field for Ghana now, midway inside the Australia half, into the feet of Boateng. Now into Ayew, edge of the area, left foot shot, but he can't wrap his left foot round it, and in fact there's a deflection off, I think, David Carney, and that's going to be a corner to Ghana.
And that's come about because Australia, they're sitting a little bit deeper, they're not quite putting the pressure on as they were in the first 10-15 minutes of the game, and they're allowing Ghana to come back into it, who really up till now I've been quite disappointed with.
Another corner for Ghana to be taken from their right wing, in-swinging left footer, high to the back post. Schwarzer just rises, he just glides into the air, and then with both hands claims possession of the ball and just looks behind him just to check there's no one hiding or loitering to try and get the ball off him.
That's brilliant goalkeeping. That gives you such a break when you're a defender and you've got corners coming in, with fierce pace on the ball, and your keeper comes and plucks one out of the air like that. That's what you need your keeper to do. Be confident, take crosses like that. It takes so much pressure off you.
Forward come Ghana once more. The ball is with Andre Ayew, out wide to the right to find Tago. Right hand angle of the penalty area, and he was trying to flick the ball into the air, chip the ball into the box, but completely miskicked, and it's gone out for a goal kick. It's worth pointing out the 2 central defenders for Ghana today have come into the side because John Mensah is injured, and Isaac Vorsa, we understand, might be injured as well, but he's also on a yellow card. Now, if he's not injured, they might have thought, well, we don't want to have Mensah and Vorsa out of the Germany game if we need the points, so maybe they've rested him. Kuehl tries a long-distance effort from outside the Ghana penalty area, but it's swept up by the team in all white. Moving to this near side of the field, they beat Serbia in their first match, courtesy of a Asamoah Gyan penalty against the 10 men of Serbia, but of course Serbia struck back yesterday with that victory over the Germans. Here's Boateng to the near side, the Ghana right, but again the move breaks down, and Carney sprints clear, goes round 2 players in white, and eventually it's Mensah who comes in to tidy up, and the ball via Annan is out to the far side of the field with Sarpe. Australia concede the throw-in.
Again, Ghana now just starting to feel their way into the game, slowly getting into it, starting to get, again, really because Australia have backed off and they're not getting up against people, they're not putting the pressure on they were before, they've just let the game, the pace of the game drop slightly, and Ghana now starting to pass the ball around with a bit more confidence, and starting to edge their way forward towards Mark Schwartz's goal.
So in front of the rolling hills in Rustenburg, Australia lead at the midway point of the first half by a 0-0, and Arlo White will take you through to half-time.
Mike, thank you very much indeed. Danny Mills, you've timed your arrival in South Africa to perfection. This World Cup really is catching fire at the moment, isn't it? So many unusual things happening, unpredictable results, not least, of course, in Cape Town last night. Ghana on the attack. Gian has an opportunity, and he fires over the bar. It's deflected off Lucas Neal, who made a terrific last-ditch challenge about 10 yards from goal. Gian looks dangerous. The score of that penalty that beats Serbia in their first match. It's another corner to Ghana, who are starting to just take control a little bit here, halfway through the first half, trailing by 1-0. Corner is swung in left-footed, and the header comes in at the near post, back out to the corner taker AU. He's looking towards the edge of the penalty area. He might have a go here at the full-back. He does. And it's the right-back, Wiltshire, who's tussling away. He's still got the ball, AU, still got it. At the byline, slides it in. Surely a goal here for Ghana. What a save by Mark Schwarzer. And what is the referee giving here?
No, it's Harry Kewell's hit that. I don't know, has he...
Oh, goodness me. It's hit Harry Kewell on the line.
Sent him off.
It's handball, and Harry Kewell's World Cup, it appears, is in jeopardy here. He has been sent off. The shot came in towards the Australian goal. Schwarzer was diving away. A group of Australians are gathered around the Italian referee, but Kewell has been shown a red card for deliberate handball. Oh, goodness. We've seen a slow motion replay. It's hit his bicep by the look of it. He's only a yard outside of the goal. Danny, that... What can you say about that? There was no deliberate handball, was there? But of course we've got a penalty kick as well. So this game has been turned on its head. And Gian, who was a hero against Serbia in the 85th minute in their opening game, Ghana, has an opportunity here to equalise.
Harry's still not left the pitch. He's arguing with the fourth official. Won't come off at the moment. That's just delaying the penalty kick.
Gian only with a three-step run-up. Drama here in Rustenburg. It was going so well for the Australians. Gian steps up and rolls it to Schwartz's left. He dived the wrong way, and Ghana are level here in Rustenburg. And Harry Kewell is sent off. Australia are down to 10 men. Kewell has only just taken his seat on the bench. Ghana are back level. It's 1-1.
Well, Harry Kewell's just walked down the tunnel absolutely fuming. To start with, the goal came about. His AU did very, very well. Twisted in and out. Great little ball to the far post. Was unmarked. The shot came in. Harry Kewell was in the right place, doing his job on the line. And for me, I don't know. It's very, very difficult. It's hit that point where it's your shoulder joined your arm.
He didn't make any move towards the ball, did he? But he has prevented a certain goal. And unfortunately, in that situation, as the last man, the referee, I suppose, to the letter of the law, had no option. But Harry Kewell definitely didn't go towards the ball, I don't think, in that circumstance. And the ball's hit him, as you say, maybe the armpit stroke bicep. He's a yard off the goal line. It was a certain goal had he not been there. And Harry Kewell has gone. So he played 54 minutes of total football before this World Cup. As the shot comes in from the Ghanaian striker Gian again, it's wide of Schwartz's right-hand post. And at the moment it's all Ghana. 54 minutes in the whole of 2010. He manages 25 in his first World Cup start.
That's very, very harsh. It's harsh. It's probably, it's devastating for Harry Kewell, because this could be it. This could be his last appearance in a World Cup. Obviously, if Australia don't qualify, that's him out of it. And it's very, very harsh. Yes, it has hit part of his arm. It's hit part of his shoulder. He's lent his shoulder towards the ball to try and prevent the goal. Unfortunately, for me, the key is, when you've seen it in slow motion, his arm is down and almost backwards behind his body, which says he's trying to get his shoulder there, or his chest there, not put his hand out towards it. For me, it's one of those, in those situations, give the penalty, but I'm not sure that's a sending off.
Well, It's a controversial moment here in Rustenburg, and we saw one yesterday. Danny, I know you flew in yesterday. Did you manage to see the USA game against Slovenia? We saw a phantom foul in the penalty area. In fact, there were probably about 6 or 7 fouls, both ways, weren't there, for a potential winning goal for the USA that was chalked off by the Mali referee. And here, Harry Kewell has been sent off, handball on the line, and Ghana are level at 1-1.
And I think that will run and run. I think, however,
what would you have done? If you're the referee, what would you have done? Split second, what's your call? I think,
well, initially, I think I'd have given a penalty, and that would have been it. I think that if you're going to give a penalty, I think the sending off's harsh. That's not intentional. He's not put his hand out to save that. You know, he's gone for it with his shoulder. A few inches misjudgment at worst. He hasn't tried to handball it, for me, and that's why it's not a sending off.
Well, if Australia lose here, they're out of the World Cup. A draw takes it to the final round of games. So it could be backs against the wall stuff for them for the remainder of this match. Free kick to Ghana, right-hand side, about a yard inside from the touchline. John Pansel will take it, the Fulham man, who injured his cruciate ligament in December, but returned for Fulham before the end of the season. Played in one of the legs of the semi-final of the Europa League. Dropped for the final by Roy Hodgson, though. Pansel swings it in right-footed. Opportunity of a header, but it goes over the top of the crossbar.
You know, I think Mike's just pointing out, you know, you could at very least say that it's denying a goal scoring, obvious goal scoring opportunity. But again, that's where the letter of the law supposedly becomes cloudy. You know, and I think if he'd have stuck his hand out and would have almost caught the ball, definite. You know, he's got to go deliberate. For that, it's a slight misjudgment, and for me, that's why. I suppose it's still inconclusive for me. It will run and run. Should it even be a penalty? You know, it's hit part of his shoulder. It's probably shoulder, chest first, then onto the arm.
So you can make a strong case that that was a perfectly legitimate clearance off the line, couldn't you?
Definitely, because it's hit him on the line. So I think it's very, very difficult, and sometimes that's football, and this could run and run and run, and you could probably argue about it all night long, which we probably will do. And we'll probably see no clearer tomorrow morning.
Well, it'll start with a 2.5-hour minibus ride back to Johannesburg, won't it? Where we can have a bit of a chat.
Well, let's hopefully something else happens. We can talk about something else as well.
Kalina for Australia. They've got to regroup here. Space here in the midfield for Holman, for Bresciano, I should say. Ball now with Craig Moore, who doesn't have a club at the moment. Perhaps a surprise inclusion in this Australia team. Brett Emerton is stationed now as that centre forward in the absence of Harry Kewell. The Blackburn man, of course, over 75 appearances for his country. But Australia lose possession. They've lost a little bit of poise as well in the last 10 minutes. And who could blame them, really? Pansel, right-hand side for Ghana. Forward goes Ayew. The ball rolled back to Schwarzer, the goalkeeper, by Moore. And he goes to Lucas Neal on the edge of the penalty area. Of course, Harry Kewell's teammate at Galatasaray. Room to move into for Lucas Neal. Not too many options in the centre of the park. Valeri, the defensive midfielder, shows. He rolls it forward to Bresciano. Bresciano twisting and turning, pressured by the Ghanaian midfield, and back it goes to Craig Moore again. There are thousands of Australia fans on the far side of the ground, all bedecked in Aussie gold. Don't dare tell them it's canary yellow. Ball dropped back into Wiltshire. Valeri, nice chest by Holman, looking for Brett Emerton, but it's Sarpay, the left back, who's able to bring this one clear, and Ghana have an opportunity here through Annan to break clear. Pansel, right hand side, he rolls it to Prince Boateng, who may be leaving Portsmouth any day now, perhaps after the World Cup. Back to Pansel again. Good possession football this by Ghana, the men in all white, nicknamed the Black Stars. Rolled forward to Gyan. Gyan has an opportunity perhaps of a shot. He turns back. Here's Prince Boateng again. He's got Pansel on the overlap. He tries a cross, and it's headed clear by Carney. Now Australia with an opportunity through Emerton to put their foot on the ball. It's an intriguing, entertaining game at the moment. It has an epic feel about it. Australia playing for their World Cup lives here. And this is a group, of course, if Ghana win today, could quite feasibly see a team going home with 6 points.
Which is almost unheard of.
It didn't happen in 2006, did it?
No, and again, I almost feel sorry for the Australians. They started very, very well, but the game now has really turned itself on its head. I know it's back to 1-1, but the Ghanaians are now starting to take control. They've got the extra man. They can pass it around. They've got pace. They've got power. And really now I think the Australians have to be very, very careful. Obviously, they need to win this game. But if they push forward, they're going to get caught out on the break with the pace that the Ghanaians have. And again, if they let one more in, they could lose heavily again.
Craig Moore then. 2 spells at Rangers, won 12 domestic major titles in Scotland. Not attached to a club at the moment. He had a big falling out with the coach at Gold Coast United around about January. He tried his luck in Greece for a couple of months, then came home, and he's on the ball again now. And it's a shame for someone like Brett Holman, who scored that goal for Australia earlier on. Only his 3rd in 33 international appearances. He's a player that's often derided back in Australia for his lack of goal scoring, considering he is a forward player. But out of this Australia squad, he's the only member to have played Champions League group stage football with AZ Alkmaar last season. He did score in the pre-World Cup friendly against New Zealand at the MCG, and he's making a forward run now. Checks back to the right-hand side goes Emerton. The ball back now with Kulina in midfield, the former PSV Eindhoven man. He was signed by Gus Hiddink, the former Australia coach, won 3 titles in Holland. Bresciano battling away, concedes a throw-in on the Ghana right-hand side, and Jonathan Mensah is over. And also they had the situation with Ghana with 2 inexperienced centre-backs in. One's only 19, Jonathan Mensah. Richard Kingston had made an awful error for the Holman goal in the 10th minute. Ball bouncing in front of him from Marco Bresciano. Terrible goalkeeping mistake, and they had a defence there that were thinking twice about the goalkeeper, weren't they? They were uncertain.
Yeah, also Australia missing Cahill as well. Had he been available today, what sort of difference would that have made? Now Harry Kewell's out as well. The Australians haven't had an awful lot of luck. To be fair to them, it's disappointing, and now they're up against it. They need to win this game. A point for them is not really going to be enough. But you look at their team and you think, where's the goal going to come from? No Harry Kewell, no Cahill. Holman is going to have to try and do his best up front on his own, but he's playing against 4 players, and whether they're young or not, they're international defenders, and I think Australia are going to find it very, very difficult now.
But a draw, as I say, doesn't rule them out of the competition. It might be a case of just protecting what they've got if they possibly can with the 10 men they have out on the field. The Mexican wave was going around this open bowl here a moment ago, and it got to the huge 3 blocks of yellow-shirted Australian fans, and only about 2 or 3 of them stood up and joined in. Here's Wiltshire, right-hand side, slides a nice ball through, looking for Emerton in an inside right position. It wasn't a bad ball, nice idea, but it's run out for a goal kick to Ghana.
Again, decent ball through, just trying to get in behind the fullbacks, but Emerton, he's chasing down 2 very, very quick Ghanaian defenders, and it's not going to happen from that way. Australia now are having to drop back, let Ghana have the ball, and unfortunately when you do that, you're chasing shadows all afternoon. You're going to get very, very tired.
Annan in the midfield for Ghana rolls the ball to the right-hand side to his right-back Pansil, into Jian, the penalty goal scorer, his 2nd penalty of this World Cup finals. Good battling by Holman, but in the end he loses out to Kevin Prince Boateng, whose tackle put Michael Ballack out of these World Cup finals, of course, in the FA Cup final at Wembley in May. AU forward to Targo on the right-hand side for Ghana. He'll roll it back to Pansil. Pansil turns inside to Annan, the holding midfielder. Bit of space here on the edge of the penalty area, and that should be a foul conceded by Craig Moore, and it is. It was a jinking little move by Asamoah, 10 yards outside the penalty area, and just a slightly slow reaction by Craig Moore. He's given away a free kick in a very dangerous position.
Yeah, central, 25 yards from goal. I expect Mark Schwartz to be tested here, but what led to that was great football. Started with Pansil in the right back position. They played a lot of short little passes, 5-10 yards, 1 touch, 2 touch, and really just waltzed through the Australian midfield. And Craig Moore, a little bit slow, had no real option but to bring him down before he got a shot on target.
Jian is over this. There's a cluster of Ghanaians around it, and Jian has only taken 2 steps back for this one. It's normally 3 for penalties. Asamoah's over the ball as well, possibly tempted by a left footer, but it looks like Jian is lined up with real intent. But it is Asamoah who curls it left footed directly into that Australian wall. And now with Jonathan Mensah, with almost all Ghanaians still forward in attack. Sarpe, the left fullback, rolls it back to Addy. Now all the way back to Asamoah in a deep position. He lofts the ball out towards Pansil. Great vision by him. Pansil brings this ball down. Right hand side. He's got Prince Boateng up ahead of him. He goes to the edge of the area to Jian. Jian toiling away. A little bit angry with AU on the right touchline there. He has to go backwards. And now with Pansil again, they do keep the ball very well, Ghana. particularly against an undermanned, understrength Australia. But that's a wasted ball through by Pansel, who's a little angry at Jian. He didn't make a forward run, and it trickles through harmlessly to Mark Schwarzer.
But again, just as we see the free kicking on the replay, disappointing so far this World Cup, with some of the calibre of players on show. A lot of the free kicks have been awful, corners especially as well. A lot of teams hitting the front man, and free kicks going into the wall or well over. Everybody seems to be questioning the ball. I haven't had a chance to see it sort of really up close or what it feels like, but I do know it wouldn't have stopped me kicking it in the stands.
Just a bit further perhaps, it'd fly away to maybe row J.
Quite possibly. I'm not even sure this stadium's big enough. I'd have cleared that far stand without a shadow of a doubt.
I fancy picking that ball out of the platinum mine on our left-hand side there. But from an Australian point of view, you know, the talk early on with this Jubilani ball in this tournament was that it was going to be a real hassle for goalkeepers, but it turned into being a disadvantage to outfield players. But now it seems to me they've realised that if you do bounce the ball in front of the goalkeeper, that can cause problems. And that happened today with Bresciani against Kingston. It happened for Greece against Nigeria the other day, didn't it? Low shots that skim off the surface into the goalkeeper's arms, and maybe he spills it. Here comes Emerton. Left-hand side, pressured by Jonathan Mensah. Good strength by Emerton. At the moment, they're just leaning into each other. Emerton does well. The referee decides not to give a free kick. Chance of a left-footed cross. It's not a bad one. It drops on the penalty spot, but it's cleared only as far as Carney, the Aussie left-back. Down the line to Emerton. Was that a foul on his back? No, it wasn't by Pansel. Carney's got an opportunity for a cross, but there is nobody there, unfortunately, for Australia. That's the position that Harry Kewell would have taken up, and it was chested back very nicely by Sarpay to goalkeeper Kingston, who makes a complete hash of the throw-out, and it's a throw-in on the right-hand side to Australia. Kulina, foot on the ball, rolls it back to Lucas Neal in his Australian gold and green shirt. Into Valeri, centre circle. Carney on the left-hand side, whose journey to these World Cup finals has been a particularly interesting one. Now at 20, Enschede. He's been at Oldham Athletic, Hamilton and Halifax Town. Foul in the centre circle. And we could see another card here from our Italian referee. It's Addy, the youngster, the centre half, who appears to be in trouble with Bresciano down on the floor. Yeah, tackle from behind, got neat ball played into Bresciano's feet, and again I think Addy maybe just a little bit too keen, comes through from the back of him, mistimes his tackle and takes him out. A definite yellow card. Well, he's a youngster, Addy, early 20s, plays for Beckham Chelsea in the Ghanaian Premier League, and he's conceded a free kick. Do you think he goes around saying I play for Chelsea? And my name's Beckham. Lucas Neal, just inside by half a yard, the Ghana half of the field. The field almost totally in shadow. Lobs the ball into the penalty area, but there's too much on that one. And the ball is out. Craig Moore was his intended target there, but it's a goal kick to Ghana. 1-1 here in Rustenburg in this Group D match. Ghana against Australia. The World Cup on 5 Live. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday afternoon back at home. England victorious in the rugby union this morning by 21 points to 20 over Australia. Sarpay down the left-hand side for Ghana, being chased by Emerton and by Wiltshire. The ball's still in play. Prince Boateng towards Jian. Good foot in that on the edge of the penalty area by Moore. Asamoah looks to the far post, and the header is out by Carney, but it'll be kept in by Prince Targo. Drops it back to Kevin Prince Boateng again. Thinks about the shot. Tries to take on Valeri. Gets a good low cross in. It's cleared very well by Craig Moore, edge of the 6-yard box. But once again, another wave of Ghanaian attackers come at Australia again. Nice cross again by Prince Boateng, but this time it's Mark Schwarzer who claims very well for Australia and rolls the ball straight out to Wiltshire, the right back, who once played for Bristol City. Valeri in the midfield for Australia. He's got Bresciano ahead of him, rolls it back to Carney, the blonde-haired left back, white boots, lobs the ball forward towards Emerton. He nods it down to Holman, but Annan is in there with the challenge, and it's a free kick given anyway for offside. Difficult for the Australians, playing balls up to Holman, who's, he's fighting against at least three Ghanaian defenders. He's trying to knock it down to people. Increasingly difficult. Ghana in the last sort of 10 minutes or so have really started to take control of the game. They're passing it around. Pressure's slowly mounting, and the game is being played nearer and nearer to Mark Schwarzer's goal. And really now I think the Australians
3 minutes to half time. They need to get in there, regroup, have a little bit of discussion about what they're going to do in the second half.
Bresciano, left-hand side for Australia. He rolls it into the midfield to Holman, who's come deep, but he's dispossessed by Annan. And once again, Ghana able to pour forward once again with Sarpei, the left-back who plays for Bayer Leverkusen. He rolls it, gets it back. Sarpei now looking for an option left-hand side into Jian, who's dropped deeper still, out to the left-hand side to Asamoah. A bit of trickery from him as he runs at the Australians. Rolls it back to Sarpei again. Slow build up this by Ghana. Chip into the penalty area. Prince Targo gets ahead to it. It goes all the way out to the left-hand side. And it's with Jian, the striker, running across the penalty area. He slides it into the edge, and it's dispossessed by, or intercepted I should say, by Bresciano, who runs away with the ball. But not too many Australians keeping up with him. Carney is dispossessed. There's no foul. Breakaway here. Prince Boateng running towards the corner of the penalty area. Will he have a go at more here? He does. He gets a low cross in. What a save by Mark Schwarzer. That ball was heading for the far corner. Low down. Prince Boateng's on his knees. He can't believe Schwartzer's got a hand to that. A terrific save. Premier League player against Premier League player. And the score remains 1-1.
For some bizarre reason, that's an unbelievable save. And the referee's given a goal kick. Sorry, Schwartzy, you missed that one. Missed a goal. I can't believe Schwartzy will be fuming. He's made an absolutely terrific save. And how on earth the referee has not seen that, I do not know.
That is extraordinary. I don't suppose he'll mind, will he? But he'll want everyone to know that he got a hand on that, as the replays now on our television monitors prove. It was a magnificent save. Low to his right by Schwarzer, and he just palmed the ball round the far post.
And I think, unfortunately, he's going to be called in to make several more of them as the game wears on.
Could be a busy boy. 60 appearances for Fulham. His season started on July the 30th last year. Into the final minute of the first 45. Ghana have had 9 shots to Australia's 2. Australia took the lead after 10 minutes, remember, through Holman, and they were looking good for it. But then the big moment of this match, Harry Kewell sent off, handball on the line, the penalty converted by Jian, and it's 1-1. A bunch of Ghana fans on the far side of the ground, leaping up and down with the flag of Ghana. Horizontal stripes, red, yellow and green, with a black star in the centre. The flag, in fact, on the far side of the ground, hanging limply on its pole. Not a lick of wind here. Good skill, this by AU. Rolls it into the penalty area, and Jian is dispossessed very well by Lucas Neal, who brings the ball forward. It was inside the penalty area. It was dangerous. Good play by AU again, who was instrumental in the incident that led to the penalty. Holman rolls it into the midfield. Lucas Neal still pretty further forward there, and now, having miscontrolled it, he has to trot back into the centre of defence. But that's it. Listen to the boos from the Australia fans.
Well, I think Australia, unfortunate, made a great start at pace with tempo, deserved their early goal, and then a little bit of trickery down the right-hand side. And again, for me, I don't know, it could be a penalty, it could not. Is it sending off? That can run and run and run. But I think now Australia are going to be up against it. They're trying to break out. They've got nowhere to go, losing the extra man. Very, very difficult now, I think, for Australia in the second half.
Boos ringing out around the stadium here in Rustenburg, similar to that greeted the final whistle in Cape Town. These, though, are aimed from the Australian fans to the referee Rossetti. The Ghana team are in a huddle in the just by the touchline, waiting to leave the field, which they now do. It's been an intriguing first half, a controversial first half, and the half-time score here, Mark, Australia 1, Ghana 1.
And they're underway, Mike Schull, in the second half.
They are, and it's Ghana who have possession in their all-white strip. The Black Stars attacking Mark Schwartzer's goal away to our left. Australia in the green and gold have won a free kick right at the byline away to our left. And if Australia were to lose today, which would mean they'd be out of the World Cup, that Harry Kewell debate might go on for some time into the night with the Socceroos fans over on the far side of the field. In fact, at the end of the half-time interval, and it's still going round the top tier of the open stand, is a huge banner with what looks like every single flag from every nation around the world, and it says above it, Jesus, King of Nations, every tongue will confess. I don't know where that's come from, but it's made its way the whole way around the stadium during half-time. Australia have possession with Brett Holman, the scorer of their goal after 11 minutes, now ploughing a lone furrow up front with Harry Kewell off. Here come Ghana, long distance strike, which was kept down there by Asamoah. but it wasn't particularly accurate. I'll run you through the two teams then. As I say, Australia, only 10 men on the field with Mark Schwarzer in goal. Wiltshire, Neal, Moore and Carney at the back. Emerton, Valeri, Kalina, Bresciano midfield with Holman up front. Ghana have got Kingston in goal. Back four of Pansil, Jonathan Mensah, Addy and Sarpe. Midfield of Targo, Annan, Boateng and Ayew. And then up front, it's Kwadwo Asamoah and the goal scorer, Jayan. Ghana have possession inside the Australia half. And then it goes back towards their centre-half Lee Addy and across to Jonathan Mensah. And Australia getting plenty of green and gold shirts behind the ball. How would you approach the second half, Danny Mills?
Well, Australia aren't out of this group yet, you know. Bizarrely, we was just talking about it at half-time. If it's a draw today, they have a great opportunity still if they can win their last game. It still keeps them in the running. They've got to be defensive. They've got to be disciplined. It's going to be very, very difficult, and they're just going to have to let Ghana have the ball, especially in their own half. There's nothing they can do about that. They unfortunately don't really have pace up front to play on the break either. I think it's going to be a long, long half, mainly played in the Aussie half.
Australia made the last 16 4 years ago in Germany. So their third World Cup finals as their goalkeeper Mark Schwarzer clears from inside his own 6-yard box. Bresciano can't control the ball and it's played out to the far side of the field to Ghana, who can be very patient in their build-up during the second half, and they're considered a very physical and very fit side. Australia will tire, no doubt, towards the end of this game. It's going to be a throw-in to Australia. Near side is Willett. In fact, it's been given the other way. The assistant referee just waving no, then he changes his mind. They obviously in conversation over their system, that their headsets, to decide which way that was going to go, and eventually referee Roberto Rossetti of Italy will come to this near side. I think he wants a word with one of the Ghana players. It's now going to be an Australia free kick. I'm a bit confused as to what was going on there, but Australia do have possession.
I think it was just Gayan just raised his foot slightly towards Lucas Neal. He wasn't particularly happy with that. Again, you know, we've seen time and time again, if you make contact with players, if you raise your foot and show your studs, you're going to give away a free kick whether you make contact or not. And you know, that's the modern day game, that's the rules of today, and players have to adapt to that.
Ghana 1, Australia 1, 4 minutes of the second half played at the Royal Bafokeng Stadium, where the sun is beginning to set. Here's Bresciano inside his own half. He's got Holman making a run down centre field. Emerton wants it right. Carney overlaps on the left, but none of the three players get the ball because Ghana intercept. Here's Asamoah, just inside his own half. Neat ball infield to Boateng. Lovely first touch to find Jean. Jean, 20 yards out, curls in a shot. Schwarzer parries it and then wanted it at the second attempt, but Lucas Neal, the captain, took no chances and sends it into touch on this near side.
I think it was Valeri just dropping back to cover there. But yeah, Schwarzer, again, lack of composure in the box. You know, he could have prevented that. No Ghanaian player in the 18-yard box. Schwarzer had plenty of time to get up and pick it up. A little bit of panic in the Australian defence there.
Boateng for Ghana. Plays it infield to Annan. Square into space. Long distance strike coming in from John Pansel. Well wide of his domestic teammate Mark Schwarzer's goal. It's a goal kick to Australia here in Rustenburg. Just looking at the situation in Group D at the moment, if the score was to stay this way, Ghana would have 4 points, one more than Germany and Serbia. Australia would have 1 point, but even at this stage, if it stayed that way, any two of the four could go through.
Well, exactly. If it does stay like this, and then they go into the last game, you know, if Australia win that final game, it gives them 4 points. Suddenly, you know, the Ghana-Germany game, if there's a winner in that, obviously they would hope it would be Germany. Would hope it would be Ghana. Australia could still sneak through. So they've got to be disciplined. It's going to be very, very difficult for them. You can see already most of their players are 10 yards in their own half, and I think we'd probably be able to count maybe on, you know, one or two hands the amount of times they actually make opportunities towards the goal.
Earlier today it finished Netherlands 1, Japan 0 in Group E. In Durban it was Wesley Sneijder's goal which decided that match. Tonight in Pretoria, Cameroon against Denmark, again in Group E. 5 Live commentary on that match, as indeed that will be the case tomorrow with the 3 games. The lunchtime kickoff is in Bloemfontein, Slovakia against Paraguay in Group F. The other game in Group F is Italy against New Zealand in Nelspruit mid-afternoon, and the evening match, which will be an intriguing one, and I say that with slight trepidation, having said the same about Ivory Coast, Portugal. It's Brazil against Ivory Coast at Soccer City. Not a great deal happening at the moment on the pitch in front of us, now covered in all shade as the sun goes down. Ghana 1, Australia 1. It's Ghana who have the ball inside the Australia half. Ayew, neat ball inside. 4 Australia players chased Ayew and left Boateng 25 yards out. Checks back onto his right foot, out wide to the angle of the penalty area. Jean sends it across towards the back post. Schwartz's height is important there because he clutches the ball from the skies and releases Emerton, who tries to send it downfield, gets a lucky knock off a Ghana defender, and then Holman wins the corner kick. Danny Mills.
Well, first of all, Kenny did very, very well. He just dropped off and didn't make Boateng's mind up for him. Good catch from Schwartz, who bowled it out to the right-hand side. And, Australia have sort of clawed their way up the other end and have got a corner. They've got to make these tell. And again, the trouble is with Harry Kewell off the pitch, they don't really have a massive height advantage over the Ghanaians.
Dynamo Moscow's Luke Wiltshire with the corner, swung in right-footed towards the penalty spot, volleyed into the air by a Ghana defender and headed further clear by Mensah. Played back though towards Bresciano, but the pass from Valeri is too strong and Bresciano won't be able to reach that. Ghana have a throw 10 yards from the corner flag. 8 minutes of the second half played here on 5 Live Sport, and it's all square at 1-1.
So vital that Australia keep the ball, don't give it away unnecessarily. Teams at this World Cup are very, very good at passing it around and keeping it. The fact that they've got a man extra now is going to make it doubly hard for the Australians, so they can't give the ball away cheaply.
Well, they have there. Here's Addy, played infield by Boateng to find Annan, sent to this near side, the Ghana left. Ayew, infield it goes to Jean, the goal scorer for Ghana. Ayew crowded out by 3 Australia players. No foul, says referee Rossetti. All Ghana are going to get there is a throw-in. They also reached the last 16 in Germany in 2006. And to get here to the World Cup in South Africa, they won Group D in the final African qualifying. But they're ranked 32 in the world, Ghana. It's certainly looking like the best hope of an African nation making it through to the knockout stages, with the host, South Africa, looking like they might be heading out. In fact, the next match here at the Royal Bafokeng Stadium is decisive for South Africa because it's Mexico against Uruguay, and a draw would send the hosts out of the competition.
Yeah, again, all of a sudden, as we said earlier on, you're starting to get to the bones of these groups now. The latter stages of the groups, teams it's starting to shape up. We're starting to see who is going to be sort of challenging for the World Cup.
Ball is going out of play for a throw-in to Ghana. Not a great deal happening in this second half here in Rustenburg. Here's Boateng. Can he change that? Up towards Asamoah. There's Pancil moving down the right. Jean ahead of him. Asamoah, long-distance effort. Deflects off an Australia player and into the arms of Mark Schwartz. And there's a tunnel on the far side of the field. An open tunnel you can see just outside. And there are people just wandering around. Don't they want to watch the game? There are plenty of spare seats.
You'd like to think they'd be able to get in. But yeah, it's again, the game's on a little bit flat at the moment. Australia, sort of sitting back, can't really afford to push on too much. It looks like, soon Ghana might be making a change, add a bit more pace to try and test the Australian defence.
The man they're about to bring on is Quincy Owusu-Abbey, familiar for his football in England, but now in Qatar with Al Sadd. He is going to come onto the field of play. And the man he is going to replace is Prince Targo, who I suppose has had one of the quieter games of the Ghana team. So Abbey, who's made only a handful of appearances for Arsenal in the past, also for Birmingham, Cardiff and Portsmouth, comes onto the field to the boom of the Vuvuzela. Here's Bresciano. Square ball infield to Valeri. Referee Rossetti makes a neat first touch and then puts his hands up to apologise. Holman can't get the ball, and now Annan steps away from it, almost hands it to Valeri, and Ghana keep possession. 11 minutes of the second half played. Ghana 1, Australia 1, but Ghana attacking. 11 men against 10. Asamoah crossed in low to the near post. Schwarzer wasn't worried. He just waited for that ball to land in his grasp, and he'll bowl it, or look to bowl it out to this near side to find Luke Wiltshire.
Yeah, almost a good cross, just too close to Mark Schwarzer. Needed to be outside the 6-yard box to put a little bit of doubt in his mind. But for me now, the Ghanaians need to kick on. They need to step the tempo up and start looking to get behind and get at the Australian defence if they're going to have a chance of winning this. Because so far, second half, Mark Schwarzer not been tested.
Their final group match, Ghana's, is against Germany next Wednesday in Johannesburg. As for Australia, their final group match is against Serbia, obviously at the same time next Wednesday in the evening at the Mbombela Stadium in Nelspruit. Australia have a free kick. It's deep inside the Ghana half, and it's going to be Luke Wiltshire to take it, right-footed, delicately chipped to the back post. Coming in at the back post was, I think, Craig Moore. He got a head on the ball, but he couldn't direct it towards goal, and a Ghana player has gone down injured.
Yeah, you fear that may be Australia's sort of best sort of chance, set pieces. Decent opportunity at the far post. Didn't really get a decent contact and comes off the side of his head and didn't trouble the goalkeeper.
Kevin Prince Boateng is back on his feet. And it's going to be Richard Kingson, the Ghana goalkeeper, 32 years old last week. The Wigan Athletic keeper in a dark chocolate brown uniform. Kicks it down centre field, but it's headed back towards the halfway line by Australia. 10-man Australia 1, Ghana 1. 13 minutes of the second half have passed. Earlier in the day, Australia suffered defeat in rugby union to England. England winning. What a shock. The second rugby union test in Sydney. That levels the test series. Tonight, incidentally, we mentioned the name of Robbie Savage, your old teammate at Derby. Danny, he's anchoring 6:06 with Neil Warnock.
Should be lively, I think, is possibly
Neil Warnock and Robbie Savage.
Maybe an understatement. I think I might phone in just to add a bit of spice to it.
You can hear both of them and get your calls in there as well. Ball put out of play by Lucas Neal for a throw-in to Ghana, 15 yards inside the Australia half. Taken quickly by Sape, across to Addy, and then across the back four, Mensah, and now Pansil into Boateng. Annan, who, even in the way he runs and moves around, looks a touch like Michael Essien. He's playing that role in midfield for Ghana, but they're able to just have a patient build-up. They're not really being pressed. Australia waiting to come at them a little bit more. Yeah,
and again, this is what England didn't do particularly well last night. They didn't keep the ball well at the back. They didn't look overly comfortable. The Ghanaians, they're just being very, very patient. You know, the Australians have put in two banks of four, if you like, or a bank of five and a bank of four to try and shut up shop. And the Ghanaians will just keep passing it to feet and just probing all the time until that, as we just see a chance come in again. Mark Schwarzer, comfortable save for him. But Ghana, you know, they've got to be patient, but at some point they're going to have to go for this. And, you know, they need really to win this game if they have a chance of getting out of this group now.
Long ball forward, seeking out Holman. Good anticipation by the Australia striker. And he's got the ball on the far side. The Australia left. Valeri to Bresciano. A couple of yards in from the touchline. Back to Valeri again. And then squared infield. And Australia forced back by the pressure put on them by Ghana into their own half. Valeri coming deep to receive the ball, and he finds Kalina. Oh, Kalina, poor mistake by him. He recovers. He almost handed the ball to Jean there. And it's now back with Craig Moore.
That was very fortunate. Bad touch, bad pass, and so nearly let Juan in then. And again, the Australians, when they start to go forward, they're looking a little bit dodgy for me. They're playing 2-on-2 at the back, and I think that exposes them. You know, Moore isn't the quickest, and I think, you know, if they do this for the rest of the game, could easily get exposed later on.
Just over an hour played in Rustenburg. Ghana and Australia tied at 1-1. Here's Boateng. Neat back flick, trying to find Sape. Across comes Kalina to put it out for a throw, which Boateng wants to take quickly. Sent into Asamoah, gets a return pass. Boateng steps in field, brought down by Wiltshire. It's going to be a free kick to Ghana. Roberto Rossetti, I mentioned there that he refereed the Euro 2008 final. Manchester United fans might remember him from the Champions League semi-final of 2009 when Darren Fletcher was sent off by Rossetti, and it meant that Fletcher missed the Champions League final against Barcelona. The noise level increases in this stadium. Ghana have a free kick from the left. Substitute Abe will take it. Owusu Abe from the left waits. Rossetti is Hawkeye there, watching some of the movement inside the area. In comes the free kick, curled to the penalty spot, headed away by Craig Moore, upfield into the Ghana half, and it's gone all the way back to Hans Sarpe.
And again, a poor free kick. You know, how many times are you going to have to say it during this World Cup that, you know, you've got to miss the first man out? You know, it's almost a criminal offence not to do that. And again, free kick after free kick, corner after corner, you know, players are just driving it in. Whether they're trying to whip it too much, put too much pace on the ball and getting it wrong, has to be one of the reasons.
Long distance shot from, I think that was Kevin Prince Boateng. It's been a disappointing second half so far, hasn't it?
It's hit a complete lull. You know, Australia, they're doing what they've got to do. You know, they're a man down. They've got to shut up shop and just be patient and try and get the odd set piece, whatever, to get forward. Ghana, like they were in the sort of beginning of the first half, for me, disappointing. You know, they haven't shown any pace or power that we expected them to do.
They've won a free kick, though, for a foul by Lucas Neal inside their own half. Long distance strike comes in from Ghana once more. There's no need to try efforts from that range.
Yeah, that's the second time from, that's 45 yards, and it's going to have to be something spectacular to beat Mark Schwarzer from there. And both shots, they both hit the ground before the ball. Poor efforts, and at the moment the Ghanaians, they almost look like devoid of ideas. They're not sure how to break down this fairly ordinary sort of setup of two banks of four that Australia have put up in front of them.
Pim Verbeek, the Australia coach, and his assistants have been chatting to Scott Chipperfield, who's just glugging some refreshment before he's about to come onto the field of play. Very experienced Basel player, 9 seasons in Switzerland for them. He had an excellent 2006 World Cup, you might remember, Danny. And he's about to be introduced today as Australia have a free kick sent in by Wiltshire into the area, headed up into the air by Jonathan Mensah, but picked up by John Pansel near the corner flag. 64 minutes played in Rustenburg. Ghana 1, Australia 1. Brett Holman gave Australia the lead after 11 minutes, and then Asamoah Gyan equalised with a penalty after Harry Kewell was sent off. Here come Ghana, edge of the box, shots deflected away. Can Schwarzer save this from going for a corner? The answer is yes. He concedes a throw. Yes, Kewell sent off a handball on the line, but a debatable decision. Here comes Chipperfield. He's going to wait for the play to stop as Ghana take the throw, send it to the box, headed out to this near side there left. Owusu Abe. Midway inside the Australia half. Back it goes to Sarpe. Owusu Abe picks up the loose ball and then does a very tricky little step over. Little party trick from him. Here's Yang, 25 yards out in centre. Anand then switches play to the Ghana right. That's handball by Ayew, who disputes it with the assistant on the far side.
Yeah, no, Gyan should have played that ball earlier. It was free out on the right hand side. Australia, that's where they've got to leave the space out wide. They have no choice in that. They've got to keep it compact in the middle. If it had delivered it earlier, it would have had time and space to get a decent ball out of his feet and get a good cross in. Didn't do it, and then really the move broke down.
So 20 minutes have passed in the second half, and Mark Bresciano's contribution comes to an end. He's replaced by Scott Chipperfield, who trots across to the far side of the field. And they might just change things slightly here. Chipperfield, who played at the back in the first game, is just discussing to Valera. I think he's going to play further forward.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to play on the left-hand side. And to be fair, Australia, they're all, they're trying to push the opposite fullback on to join in the play as often as they can.
Here they come down the right. Wiltshire's cross. It's a good one to the back post. Oh, header comes in, and it's over the crossbar from the substitute Scott Chipperfield. His first touch of the game, and I think he should have done better than that.
What a substitution that would have been had he had scored that. His first touch, he's almost got a free header. You know, he's unchallenged, he's got his eye on it, he's got to hit the target. Great ball in from Lewis Wiltshire on the right hand side. Again, we said fullbacks trying to push on and help out. That's a golden opportunity. He really should do better and hit the target at least.
So it stays 1-1. Danny Mills on 5 Live Sport from the BBC, live in Rustenburg. Ghana coming forward, looking to take the lead for the first time in the game. Jayan to a tight angle, right across the face of goal, and almost put into the net there by Asamoah. Kwaju Asamoah was about 3 yards out, but he was literally inches from touching that ball into the net.
That's more like it from the Ghanaians. Good early ball out wide. Ghayan running at the fullback. Running at Moore. Kearney should have covered round. It's obvious he wants to go down the outside and use his pace, and he's hit one of those cross shots which is probably 2 foot away from the line, and Asamoah couldn't quite get the touch on the far side, but that's more like it. Need to see more of that from the Ghanaians.
Substitution for Australia not long after Chipperfield's introduction. The next man coming on, I'm not really surprised, because Brett Holman has run his socks off up front, and now it's for 6'4.5" Josh Kennedy, who plays for Nagoya Grampus in Japan, the number 9 who's coming on.
I think the manager's hoping that, you know, this substitution has the same impact as the last one. He gets a decent chance with his first touch, and obviously being the size he is, if it's a header, hopefully he'll put it away.
Well, Holman scored the goal that gave Australia the lead only 11 minutes into the game. He capitalised on a dreadful error by the goalkeeper Richard Kingston after Bresciano's 35-yard free kick. It's now down to Kennedy and his teammates to try and put Australia back in front. Pimba Verbeek and his assistants watch on.
Australia got to make the most of these opportunities. You know, it's a deep free kick in the Ghanaian half, but now they've got Kennedy on especially. That's where they're going to be aiming for. The likes of Moore as well. They need to make something of this.
Wiltshire into the penalty area, lofts up, hangs at the back post, kept in by Chipperfield. Moore can't get there, and Pansil calmly side foots it upfield to Jean, and now Ghana on the counter attack down centre field, moving forward. Sape tries to stay onside. He is onside. Oh, but he didn't anticipate the pass, and Australia have it back, and then they give it back to Ghana, and suddenly there's a little bit of respite around this stadium. Darkness beginning to descend in Rustenburg. Ghana 1, Australia 1. To help Danny Mills through to full time is Arlo White.
Mike, thank you very much indeed. Ghana on the attack here through Asamoah, edge of the penalty area. He's got an AU outside of him. Good defending though by a combination of Australians, including Luke Wiltshire. And Australia get the ball clear to the substitute Kennedy. Kennedy holding the ball up pretty well. Rolls it to the right-hand side to Wiltshire again. Space and time here for the Australians in midfield, but Chipperfield gives the ball away, and it's Ghana who can, well, launch another attack. It just seems to me, Danny Mills, that every time they get into within 40, 45 yards of the Australian goal, they just let fly with shots. They've been going high, they've been going wide. It seems that Kevin Prince Boateng wants to make a real name for himself here this afternoon, but there's still time. Boateng to Asamoah, left-hand side, back into Boateng. Those who play return balls. The ball's rolled into the penalty area. Now with Jian, now Abeyi on the edge of the penalty area. He looks to curl it into the top corner of Mark Schwartz's net, and there we go again. It's over high, wide and handsome, and easy for Australia.
Again, they're lacking that little bit of guile, a little bit of creativity around the box, and once they get there, if they can't run at players from deep and use their pace, they haven't got that one player, by the looks of it, that can play that little bit of a pass or a little bit of trickery to create something.
The 6'4" substitute Kennedy wins a flick on there, but it's a free kick given against Australia, against Brett Emerton, and away come Ghana again. If it's a draw here tonight, and there's plenty of time left, but Ghana would top the group on 4 points, ahead of Germany on 3, Serbia on 3, Australia on 1. Here comes Asamoah with a shot, and he flashes it wide of Mark Schwartz's right-hand post. The goalkeeper rooted to the spot. It was Jian, left-footed, didn't wrap his foot around it. It was a good move, much smarter move that time by Ghana. It was Kevin Prince Boateng who rolled a nice ball through to the goal scorer. He couldn't take advantage though, and Australia would be on 1 point. Australia would still be in it if they beat Serbia and Germany lose to Ghana in the last round of matches. Australia would be through, Germany would be out, and the possibility remains, if England can raise their game, of an Australia-England second-round match for the Ashes, the football Ashes, and the 2010 World Cup.
I admire your optimism, Arlo, but I'm not going to be putting any money on that one just yet.
I'm getting way ahead of myself. Here's Kalina. Let's go to Ascot and join John Hunt. Hello, John.
Hi Arlo, yes, underway now for the Wokingham Stakes, and they've split, just like the Golden Jubilee Stakes, into two distinct groups. Massama leads the near side group in the early stages. Striking Spirits in behind with Sohrab, Notting Wood and Regal Parade also. Evens and Odds is not too far behind these runners as well, as they now head on through the early stages of the contest. Judd Street and Gallagher race next, and Golden Desert is with these as well. Not too far behind is Edge Closer and also Khaldoon Kingdom. They're the group down the near side, and still Massama, Striking Spirit and Evens and Odds the leaders. They're trapped by Notting Wood. Meanwhile, McGilly Owen has hit the front over on the far side with Johannes. Jenke trying to come with a run, slightly hampered. Also Valerie Bortsoff, and on the far side rail Nowhere to Go is also a contender. Heading then to the closing stages of the Wokingham Handicap, and Laddie's Poker 2, the hot favourite, has come right searing through now to take up the lead down the near side. What a bit of training this is. He's been off the track 2 years. He's been heavily backed all week. Laddie's Poker 2 runs away with the Wokingham. Striking Spirits in second place, then maybe third. Palace Moon, Notting Wood. Also involved was Jenke and Golden Desert. So Arlo, that's our Royal Ascot coverage for 2010, now brought to its conclusion with Laddie's Poker 2 landing a famous gamble as we head back to you and the World Cup in Rustenburg.
John, thank you very much indeed. Australia having a wonderful passage of possession here, and the great chance, Danny Mills, a few moments ago for Luke Wiltshire to put them back in front.
Yeah, broke to him inside the box, just outside. Golden opportunity. Unfortunately, fullback's finish, hit it straight at the keeper. Almost rebounded to Kennedy, who sort of gangly, sensible that he is, couldn't quite wrap his foot around it to get the rebound on target.
Just a sign that the Aussies are getting back into this game, and the opposition Ghana are getting a little frustrated and a little nervy here at 1-1. They would have expected to win this game, even playing against 11 men, having seen Australia's opening game against Germany, a 4-0 defeat. But against 10 men, they really would expect to force a victory. But it's 1-1 in Rustenburg. Nice flick forward by Emerton with the outside of his right boot, and excellent pursuit that time by Luke Wiltshire from fullback. Has won a throw-in on the right-hand side, taken quickly. Wiltshire blowing a little bit after that long run. Rolls it back to Emerton. Emerton, can he get a cross in? Looking for Kennedy, the 6'4" man. He's still by the corner flag. Now it's back with Wiltshire. Cross comes in. Athletic header away by Anand. Ball still in the penalty area, and Anand doesn't connect with his clearance. But down the left-hand side is a Bailly. Chance to break for Ghana. Swings a ball, a long ball over to Jian outside the penalty area. Craig Moore right behind him straight away. Not too many in attack here for Ghana, but Jian's going to take on Moore, and Moore showed a decent enough turn of pace there. At 34 years old, to just see off the attentions of Jian, that was good defending by Craig Moore. Yeah,
just got his body in between the ball and the goal, and blocked his man off. Good experience used. The problem, you're right, the problem the Ghanaians have, I think, their biggest problem, because the Australians are sitting back deep, they can't use their pace and power to start running at people. They need the Australians to start attacking, and I think as Australia are starting to do that, gaps might start opening up.
Look at this for some space. The ball is rolled through and it's offside only just against Josh Kennedy. Scott Chipperfield collected possession, Wiltshire with the ball inside. Chipperfield had all sorts of time to pick out his pass there, and Kennedy had just strayed offside, or he would have been clean through on Kinson's goal. 1-1 the score remains. So intriguing afternoon in Rustenburg between Australia and Ghana. Ghana on the attack, ball played through, they want a free kick, not given. Lucas Neal, edge of his own penalty area, now rolls it out to the substitute Scott Chipperfield, who normally plays left back for Australia. He's playing further forward, I think, to this afternoon since coming on, in his natural position with Basel, where he's been for a number of years, and it looks like Ghana are going to make another substitution very soon. Now with Kalina, 9 years in the Eredivisie for him, the only A-League player based in Australia in this starting 11 for Australia today. Lucas Neal, looks like they've gone with a back three at the moment, Australia. I doubt whether that will last. Flick on by Kennedy, and back to Kingston. Has to boot the ball out from the ground. Gian, the furthest man forward, skillful, intelligent nod down, and gets a ball back, and once again Craig Moore is back brilliantly. It was a superb first time left foot ball driven down by Asamoah, and he had a step on Moore there, did Gian, but Moore was back tidying up desperately with a sliding challenge that just got there, to the ball, and he anticipated it very well.
Australia are giving it everything. They're fighting for everything. Last-ditch tackles and clearances and all sorts. And the game is just starting to open up a little bit now. Australia almost looked like I said, look, come on, let's go and have a go. See if we can do it. And as they do that, obviously, it's going to create space at the other end, and they're obviously delightful to the counter-attack.
Well, into the action comes Sully Muntari. Kwadwo Asamoah has left the field. Sully Muntari will be familiar to many. He's at Inter Milan at the moment. Can't get a place in the starting 11 at the moment for Ghana. Portsmouth paid £7 million for him when he was a younger man, played in their FA Cup winning team, sold to Inter for £12.7 million, so one of the few bits of business that Portsmouth made a profit on in the last few years. But Muntari is in the game. I wonder if he can turn it Ghana's way. 1-1 here in Rustenburg at the 2010 World Cup finals here on 5 Live. And it's Wiltshire who's given away a free kick inside the Ghana half. His feet were raised. But there's one thing with Australian sports teams that we've grown to know over the years, Danny. They will never give up. They are tenacious. They will battle until the last ounce of sweat. And the last ounce of blood has been spilled.
They are right up against it at the moment. They're defending deeply. Their last-ditch tackles and clearances. I think they're doing fantastically well for what they've got. They've limited the Ghanaians to very, very few chances. Mark Schwarzer hasn't really had a save of note to make in the second half.
Craig Moore is looking after Gian at the moment. The lone man up front for Ghana. Goal kick taken by Schwarzer. They've gone 3 up front, the Ghanaians. Kevin Prince Boateng's up there as well. Mensah on the edge of the penalty area is dispossessed. Opportunity here for Australia. It's a free kicks. Chipperfield was fouled, and our Italian referee has handed out a yellow card to Jonathan Mensah, the young centre-back making his first start of these finals. The referee Rossetti, who sent Harry Kewell off earlier on. This is a great opportunity perhaps for a shot on goal direct from the free kick for Australia. But remember 2006, Australia heartbreak occurred in the second round. They were heading for extra time at 0-0 against the eventual champions Italy in Kaiserslautern. Lucas Neal, a challenge on Fabio Grosso. Over went the Italian, he won a penalty. Totti scored it, and the Australians were out. Grossi admitted recently in the Australian media that he accentuated that situation a little. And today it's Rossetti, the Italian referee, who sent off Harry Kewell in the first half and gave a penalty as well. And that's why we're level at 1-1. 28 metres is the distance to goal.
About 35 yards in old-fashioned money.
Yeah, I think so. David Carney's over it, but the ball is killed in right-footed, and it's over the bar by Brett Emerton. One or two anguished cries from the Australia fans there.
Yeah, poor free kick. Wasn't going towards the corner, didn't get it up and down over the wall. No dip on it whatsoever. And just quite interesting now, the Australians have almost gone 3 for 3 at the back against the Ghanaian front three. And, Moore isn't the quickest, and it could be dangerous, but fair play to them. They're having a go, and they want to try and win this game.
Well, that's extraordinary, isn't it? Because a point does keep them in the competition. I thought I'd seen that right a few minutes ago, Danny, that they've gone to 3 at the back. I think Wiltshire, the right back, is pushing on down the right-hand side, isn't he? Boateng then having a go at Wiltshire. Tries a step over and then barges Wiltshire out of the way when the step over doesn't work, and that's a free kick given to the Australians, who will be buoyed by their performance in the past 10 minutes here. The sun has disappeared in Rustenburg. We've got a almost purple sky above those dramatic sandy coloured hills on the far side of the ground. An open 2-tiered stadium apart from the roof that covers up on our side of the ground. Craig Moore will roll this back to Schwarzer. It reminds me, this stadium, a little of Cagliari, where England were based in the group stages of the 1990 World Cup. A running track around here as well, so we're a little bit further away from the action than we are at other stadiums, but it's a dramatic scene out there. Ghanaian flags are waving. Thousands of Australia fans here as well, and this match, with 10 minutes to go, is very much in the balance. Serbia and Germany will be looking on with great interest. Kennedy battling away, the tall, lanky, long-haired striker for Australia, nicknamed Jesus. He's got a beard and long hair. Chipperfield rolls it, Out to the left-hand side, Carney, long cross in towards Kennedy, who gets a header in off the top of his head. Wiltshire's trying to get in there as well, but it's cleared by Garner down their left-hand side. Gian, who's getting through some running, the lone frontman, keeps that ball in play, gets it back, rolls it inside to AU to Annan. Space on the right-hand side here, and danger for Australia. Ball coming through Pansel into the penalty area. And there's a brief opportunity for Bay to bring the ball down, but once again well defended by the Australians in there.
Yeah, good defending again. They're playing narrow, they're defending the width of the box, and that's what you have to do when you're down to 10 men. Let the ball go wide. You can't score from a cross, so when it comes into the box, make sure you're sharp. And again, you know, the likes of Lucas Neal and Craig Moore, they're using all their experience just to defend that penalty area, and when it comes in, they're getting tight to people and not giving the Ghanaians a chance to get turned and get shots away.
They've certainly got some pride back here, Australia, after that awful opening they had against Germany, thumped by 4-0. It mirrored in some respects their first ever appearance at the World Cup finals in 1974, beaten 2-0 in their group by East Germany and 3-0 by West Germany. 2006, far kinder to them under Gus Hiddink, getting to the second round, beaten by Italy, and they are a little over 8 minutes away plus stoppage time from getting a draw that will keep them in the competition for the time being, going into the final round of matches. Long goal kick, free kick forward by Schwarzer, bouncing around on the edge of the penalty area. It was Valeri trying to get in on that, who plays his club football in Italy. Lumped clear by Garner, and it looks like Schwarzer was tempted to take a throw in there on the far side, and his all-blue kit, but he leaves it sensibly to David Carney. Flashbulbs going off around the stadium. There's hope still for Australia. Ghana, the only African team to have won a match in this competition so far. Kalina in the midfield accepts that throw in from Carney. Lumps it forward, edge of the penalty area towards Kennedy, but that'll bounce off the turf and into the hands of Kingston. And Australia are doing what many thought England should have done in the closing stages last night. You put on a big man. For England it was Crouch, for Australia it's Kennedy, and they're firing balls up to him when England last night was still trying to play the ball around in midfield.
And they're having a go. You know, they've gone brave at the back and again bursting forward yet again.
Now that Chipperfield has been fouled here, and it could be another yellow card for Ghana. The yellow is brandished by Rossetti, and it looks like Annan, the holding midfielder for Ghana, goes into the book.
Who I think's played very, very well. I think he's a holding midfield player tonight. He's got the ball, he's passed it well. You know, he's not had too many touches on the ball, and I've been quite impressed with him. But going forward, I've been disappointed with the Ghanaians. The Australians have defended very, very well. But, you know, for me, they haven't shown enough going forward, for me, the Ghanaians, to really warrant to win this game so far.
And they've made their final substitution, Australia, and it's another forward who's come onto the field. Wiltshire has gone off, and Nikita Ruketsia has come onto the field, who was born in Ukraine.
I'm glad you said that, not me.
I'm not entirely sure I've got it right, Danny, I've got to be honest with you. But he's into the action for his first experience of the World Cup. Carney chips the ball into the area, the free kick. It's headed clear by the Ghanaians, but only for a throw-in on the right-hand side. Emerton strides over with purpose to take this. I think they feel here, Australia, they can get a late winner. Throw-in comes into the penalty area, but a foul is given against Annan, and Ghana can bring the ball clear. It was Craig Moore who was tussling away up front. Rukavitsa is the correct pronunciation, my thanks to my learned colleague Mike Sewell. Closing stages here in Rustenburg. 1-1 between Australia and Ghana. And Australia, well, it appears, have been handed another yellow card to Craig Moore that time.
Yeah, but
and he's out of the final game.
Not sure what that's for. Don't remember really anything happening.
I think it's just sense that he was nowhere near the ball or nowhere near attacking.
Over.
In fact, it's Australia who've been given a free kick. So a bit of dissent, I think, by Craig Moore in his 15th international year, and he will miss the final group game against Serbia for Australia. So a blow for him. Harry Kewell already out of that match. Tim Cahill available to return. Australia attacking. Left-hand side through Carney. That's a decent-looking cross. It's a punch from Kingston. It wasn't at all convincing, but he's conceded a throw-in. And again, it's Rukatsu who was in trying to get his head to the ball.
Fair play to Australia, absolutely fantastic. You know, they're putting Ghana under so much pressure. It's all, at the moment, it's all Australia.
You wouldn't believe they've got 10 men against 11, would you?
No,
Ghana have run out of ideas.
You'd think it was the other way around.
Emerton throws it towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Kennedy's waiting for it, but it doesn't beat the first Ghana defender. Lobbed back in by Kulina. Tussling there is Kennedy, and is there a chance of an overhead kick? It's blocked. Ball still in the penalty area. Australia on the attack. Kennedy, bit of head tennis going on here. And this time it's Kennedy who is penalised, maybe for foot up. Our Italian referee signals a free kick to Ghana, and they can relieve a little bit of the pressure. Confirmation of that yellow card for Craig Moore. We think it was for dissent, and he does indeed miss the next match, the final group game against Serbia.
And again, you know, this is good to see from the Australians. They've put a big man on up front, you know, and they're throwing balls into the box, and he's causing all sorts of problems. Just the sheer size of him. And again, England didn't do that last night.
I just wonder when this World Cup is going to start going to script. We all turned up here fully expecting Ghana to win, Australia to perhaps capitulate. The changes were made, though, by Pim Verbeek. And here come Australia again. Such a positive end to the game for them. Valeri. On the left-hand side is Carney. Cuts inside. Low cross, and it's dangerous. The ball is still free. Kingston's lost it. Acrobatic clearance. Just about off the goal line that time. It's Rukvitsa again who was challenging with Kingston. In fact, he has been penalised. It's a free kick to Ghana. What an excellent ball in that was. I don't see anything wrong with that challenge at the moment.
No,
Rukvitsa kept it live, didn't he?
Had every right to go for that. He goes in, he slides in. The keeper spills it. Takes his eye off the ball yet again. Doesn't catch it cleanly, and for me that's bad goalkeeping. The referee again too quick to blow his whistle.
Well, Matthew Amoa is on. The final substitution has been made for Ghana. Kevin Prince Boateng has gone off the field. So 42.5 minutes played of this second half, and the score remains 1-1, but you have to tip your hat to Australia with 10 men since the 26th minute when Harry Kewell was sent off for a deliberate handball on the goal line. Well, handball nonetheless. The penalty was given, and that meant it was 1-1, but they have come back brilliantly in this second half of the Socceroos. Time still perhaps for Ghana to launch attack and to nick it themselves. Sape down the left-hand side, chips it forward to the ever-dangerous Gian. Was that a push in the back by Craig Moore? Yes, it was. Lucas Neal looks distraught with that decision, but it was a shove in the back. Didn't really go for the ball that time, Craig Moore.
And just listen to the Vuvuzelas there. You know, it's gone up in volume yet again every time Ghana get a chance on goal, which they've had very, very few this second half. You know, Australia defended very, very well, but the Ghanaians attackingly, for me, they've been poor. Complete lack of idea around the box. They can't run past people. They haven't got that little trick or something special to beat someone on the edge of the box and get a chance.
It's Sully Muntari who will take this free kick left-footed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Ghanaian attackers on the edge of the penalty area. The cross comes in. Head of the far post. It's just over the bar. It was close. Jonathan Mensah, the centre half, at the far post. And it wasn't far away at all. Good delivery in from Muntari.
Yeah, that's the key. The ball to the far post. Great delivery. He climbs well. A little bit off balance. Can't quite get his head on target. But to be fair, I think Mark Schwarzer did have it covered.
We're into the final minute, well into the final minute of the 90. 30 seconds of that to play. We await the board to tell us how much stoppage time will be added. Ghana now enjoying some possession. Muntari clips it forward, looking for Amoa, the substitute. Punted clear by the Australian defence. Muntari wins a header. Valeri for Australia. It's scrappy in the midfield. Australia will be delighted, I think, now to come away from this with a point. Abeyi wide, chance here for Ghana. The low ball in, looking towards Amoa, the substitute, and Ayew is in there as well. We're going to have 3 minutes of added time here in Rustenburg. 1-1 between Australia and Ghana, and this group will go down, if it stays like this, to the final match. In fact, even if Ghana nick a late winner, they're not guaranteed to go through with 6 points, as Serbia and Germany could both end on 6 points as well. Long throw-in into the area, and it's Craig Moore who concedes a corner with a header. He's been a hero in the second half so far. He barely put a foot wrong.
I think they've defended brilliantly. You know, they used, like I said, they used that experience. They defended the box. they've limited Ghana to literally 2 half chances against 10 men, and that's fantastic credits to Australians.
A 5th corner for Ghana in stoppage time. Montari swings it across. It's headed clear by Emerton. Obey strips on the edge of the penalty area. He's going to have a left-footed shot. It's dangerous, and it's punched over the bar by Mark Schwarzer, who thought for a split second about trying to catch that, but 2 Ghana strikers were just waiting for the rebound, so in the end he palmed it over. Corner taken short. Montari, side of the penalty area. He may be tempted to have a shot. He does, and it's wide as a curler looking for the top corner, looking for that precise effort, curling effort, and it's high and wide from Montari, and it's relief for Australia.
Yeah, well over the bar. But the first one was a decent save from Schwarzer, a save you'd expect him to make. But again, that's what they've been limited to. They've had long-range pot shots, and apart from that, they've offered nothing.
Well, Kennedy's been a handful up front, the 6'4" striker, and he's won a throw-in on the right-hand side for the Aussies. Emerton takes the ball back from Kalina, gets a cross in, it looks dangerous. Chipperfield's free on the far side, the ball doesn't reach him, low volley comes in, it's deflected, Kingston's down and gathers a rather tame effort in the end cleanly, and immediately that's a wonderful ball, and Ghana have a chance to attack. Jian on the far side, Abeyi's in the middle screaming for it, and the cross is overhit terribly by Jian. He knows, he's staring at the heavens, hands on his head. What an opportunity that was, with the striker bearing down on goal. Kingston, who gave away the first goal for Australia, had a real chance to redeem himself. That was a brilliant piece of goalkeeping play to release the ball quickly. There's a Ghana defender down in the penalty area.
Unbelievable pass. He's hit that low, almost Italian-style side kick volley. Absolute brilliant ball right into Juan's path. He's running at Moore, who isn't the quickest, as we know, but he's defended well again. The cross was awful. Lucas Neal was in the box, one-on-one. A good cross could have had them in trouble. But again, we've seen it time and time again, the crosses and delivery was just poor.
Had the pass from Jian been anywhere near as good as the pass from Kingston, it could have been a goal, couldn't it? Glenn Hoddle would have been proud of that ball. It was an
unbelievable pass and completely unexpected. But Pansel looks in some sort of trouble here.
There is blood.
There's quite a bit of blood on the pitch.
I think he's had a clash of heads here with Kennedy, the tall substitute, and he's lying on the ground being mopped up at the moment. The stretcher's onto the field. He's got some red blood staining his brilliant white shirt at the moment, Pansil, and it means we'll have a bit of extra time. The 3 minutes of stoppage time are over, and he's been dragged and placed onto a stretcher here, John Pansil, the Fulham man who wasn't selected for the Europa League final at the end of the season on that incredible run for Fulham. He looks a little dazed and confused as well, Pansil, but they've had all their substitutions, haven't they, Ghana? So I'm not sure whether he's going to be taken off and whether he will be able to continue.
He's taken a whack on the nose. It was an accidental clash of heads, both from challenging for the ball. I think he's possibly split his nose open there, and obviously looks like he's going to continue no further part, which there'd probably be maybe a minute or so to go. I think if Australia, if they get the ball, just pump it into the box and hope for the best and see what happens.
So Pansil is off the field, lying on a stretcher. There's no sign of him coming back. Closing stages here in Rustenburg. It just depends now how much time, the added time, the referee wants to put on to the end of stoppage time. Ball forward, Kennedy with a lovely flick on. It's in the penalty area, and Kingston had to be alert to come off his line. Valeri was bearing down on goal there for the Australians, and now possible opportunity for Ghana to break away, but I think that's it. The referee, the Italian referee, yes, he's shaking hands with one of the Ghana players out there. Well, I found that second half, the last 25 minutes of it, absolutely fascinating, entertaining. Australia really had a go, down to 10 men. You'd have thought it'd be all one-way traffic, but in the end, they've got themselves a draw. And they were the more positive side towards the end, but it's ended, Danny Mills, 1-1.
Fair play to Australia. They set their stall out second half. They defended very, very well for the first 20 minutes, and then they thought, you know what, let's have a go. They put some subs on, they put the ball into the box, they went 3 at the back, and they had a right good go, and they defended very, very well with experience, and they thoroughly deserve a point out of that, and it keeps them in the tournament, which, you know, is fantastic for them. Ghana on the other hand, if I was Germany now, I'd be saying, just defend deep, and they've got no idea.